Hi there, this is Renee here from Reborn Health, and I'm a nutritionist, and I help women ditch the diets and instead adopt a life full of positive food relationships and a positive relationship with themselves as well. So welcome. In today's episode, we are talking about self-care tips. Now, self-care you probably think is all about taking a day out to go to a spa, going for a walk in nature, or finding time to meditate. Now, whilst all of those things are really fantastic ways to take care of yourself, in today's chat, I really want to simplify it for you. I want this to be zero faff, zero fluff. These are things that you can do whilst you're looking after the kids, whilst you're in your home doing other things, because I do understand that sometimes it can be really difficult to try and find a whole day, half a day, even an hour to try and slow down and do all of these things. And whilst that might be the goal for you, I'm trying to be realistic here and give you ways that you can still honour your physical and emotional health by taking care of yourself, but in a way that doesn't make you feel like it's too out of reach or that it's something that you can't incorporate right now. Okay, so let's get started, and make sure you stay around to the end because I'm going to tell you how you can get a full list of more inspirational self-care tips from me. Okay, so 5 tips for you. The first one is reading a book. And I know that you're probably going, where and how on earth am I going to fit that into my day? Let me tell you a little trick. So most of us will sit down at some point and in our lunch break or, in the moment of just going, I just want to zone out for a moment and scroll through our phones. How about you consider replacing that with reading a book? If you've got a Kindle, it's even easier because you can carry the Kindle with you wherever you happen to be. And maybe just reading a couple of pages or even a chapter is all that you need just to kind of allow you to switch off a little bit and really immerse yourself in something that is of interest to you rather than scrolling through social media. That's one example. What I personally do, I'm still breastfeeding my baby. So when I'm sitting there breastfeeding, I get out my Kindle and I read a book. So that is just try and think of ways that you can maybe incorporate that into your day that maybe you hadn't thought of before. Of course, I do try to do it before going to sleep, but sometimes when it comes time for me to just jump in bed, I just want to sleep. But this is a strategy that you might want to look at. Okay, number 2 is doing some kind of mindful colouring or drawing. Now, this is a really great way to kind of switch off your brain and honour your emotional health. Now, a great way to do it, particularly if you've got young children, is to have your own colouring book or maybe your own scrap piece of paper. And whilst your young children are doing their colouring, then you get out your crayons or your pencils or however you want to do it, and you're just mindlessly colouring alongside them. So this is a really great way to just kind of zone out a little bit and just kind of, it's kind of like a relaxing way. And if it's something that you haven't tried, just give it a go. And I'm going to be the first to say I am a terrible artist. Like, my stick figures don't even resemble stick figures. A 4-year-old could draw better than me. So it's not about what it looks like. It's just basically just, drawing, colouring, whatever happens to come out on the piece of paper, and you're just kind of zoning out for a little bit. So that's a great way to incorporate through the day. Okay, number 3 is listening to some kind of podcast or audiobook. And the reason why I love this is it's such an easy way to kind of take a moment out for your brain to just kind of take in something that is enjoyable for you. So something that you might like to listen that's uplifting or motivating, or even some kind of calming type audio book or podcast, and you can easily integrate it into moments in your day. For example, I will often listen to a podcast while I'm out walking. So the walking aspect's also a great tick for physical self-care. If I am cooking a meal, so I'm still doing something, but I'm giving myself a little bit of time to, kind of do something that's a bit enjoyable. Or sometimes if the children are happy playing and I just want to have a little bit of time out, but I've still got to watch them, I might sit there and put in my earphones just for 5 or 10 minutes and listen to something that just helps me calm down a little bit. So that's another really great tip for you. Music, of course, is a great way as well, but I'm really into the podcast at the moment, so that's why I've suggested that one. Number 4. Now, I mentioned that you don't need to go to a day spa or anything like that, but what you can do is maybe once a week is give yourself a really nice facial cleanse, a facial mask, and a moisturizer. That's something that I really like to do just because I kind of feel like it's just a very simple thing that I can easily do 10 minutes at the end of the day that just kind of helps me just de-stress and just go, yeah, I'm doing something nice for myself. So that might be something that you might like to do. If you're not really into all that, even just getting a nice moisturizer is a really lovely thing to do. You don't have to worry about the whole mask and whatever else, but I'm just sharing something that I find works really well for me. And number 5 is getting in touch with a friend. Now, we live in a world where it's very easy to pick up a phone and just do a text message or some kind of message over socials, send a TikTok, whatever you want to do. But what I'm suggesting here is picking up the phone and actually having a phone conversation with a friend. That connection is so good for your emotional self-care. And just being able to talk to someone and feel as though that you can have an open discussion about anything is a really great way to make you feel even more connected to people outside of your home and outside of your work environment. So I encourage you to think of times when you might be able to call a friend rather than maybe sitting and reaching out via text or something else. Maybe have a chat to them, and it doesn't have to be about anything in particular. Just ring up and say hello. That's a really great way to honour some self-care for yourself. Okay, so they're my top 5 tips. Of course, there are heaps, but the takeaway that I want to give you today is that self-care is something that can often get overlooked and can often feel as though it's it just gets in the way of our everyday. What I'm challenging you to do today is to think of something that resonates with you, some kind of self-care thing that you enjoy. And even though you might not be able to take the full time out because of your work or your childcare responsibilities or whatever it happens to be, I challenge you to figure out how you can still incorporate it into your day to give you just a feeling as though you're still doing something for yourself. And of course, when that time comes where you can take more time out, then absolutely do it. But you're not going to be at the point where you're feeling as though you're at wit's end by that stage. This is something that you can easily maintain over time that's still going to give you that physical and emotional health that is so important. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful for you. And if you want to get my full list of over 20 self-care inspirational tips, then all you need to do is sign up to my email list and I will be more than happy to give that to you. So you can go to rebornhealth.com.au or send me a message and I will give you all the links. Okay, I hope to see you next week. Bye for now.